than yourself. And that's what I've striven to do in all the 50 years that I've gone to those places. Consider others more important. That is the attitude of Jesus Christ. Now, I want to say to you, my brothers and sisters, as you sit in this church, if you follow that exhortation, consider others not as more spiritual. You know they're not. You know some people sitting here are very carnal. But more important than yourself. Respect them as more important, like a dignitary. Don't treat them lightly. Recognize yourself as least important, even if you're the most spiritual. I believe the most spiritual person here will definitely think of himself as the least important. The two go together. And here is the 3 steps of humility I mentioned. Now, this is the opposite of the highest archangel. If sin had to come through an archangel trying to exalt himself, salvation had to come by the opposite of that, by somebody humbling himself. So we see Jesus, you see the 3 steps of humility there, because it says here in verse 5, have the same attitude in yourself which was in Jesus Christ. And what is that? Number 1, though he was God, verse 6, he did not hang on to that, but emptied himself of all that sense of importance and being what he was. And, you know, there's a lot of it in us. We may think we are very humble, but we got a lot of thing in our head which makes us feel we are pretty important. And it's only an act of humility very often in our language. But it says he humbled himself and came right down to become a man. First step of humility. Second, as a man, he could have walked around as a king, but no. He took the place of a slave. A bondservant, it says, verse 7, which is a slave. God becoming man itself is a big thing, but then as a man, he became a slave, the lowest level of the human race, slaves, which is lower than even servants. And you'd think he'd reach the bottom. No. He went one step further. He went down to being thought of as a criminal. Those are the 3 steps of humility. God becoming man, man becoming like a bond slave, and a bond slave going even down and being considered as a criminal on the cross. And it says here, that's why I say 3 steps of humility, humility, humility. That's the secret to the Christian life. And it says here, you must have the same attitude. And this is not something that, you know, we want other people to recognize. It's not that you go around getting a reputation now for being humble, for humility. That's a lot of garbage. But you recognize in yourself what you are and seek to follow Jesus inwardly. That's the only way, I want to say to you, dear brothers and sisters, that the devil will have no power over you. The devil has power over anybody who's got even an atom of pride in him. If there's conflict in your home, it's because the devil has brought pride in somebody there. And you cannot overcome pride with more pride. You cannot overcome somebody's arguing by arguing against that person, husband or wife. The only way you can overcome is the way Jesus overcame. Humility. Go down, go down. Go down right to the bottom. Keep quiet. Let the other person think they won the argument. Go down. Didn't the devil think he had won on the cross of Calvary? Jesus is willing to let everybody think that the devil finally won. The Pharisees finally won. Let them think that. And have you noticed that he did not even want to prove after his resurrection? You know how a human being would have such a temptation after the resurrection to go and stand before Pilate and say, hey, you thought you could get rid of me, here I am. Or to go before the Pharisees and say, you thought you could get rid of me, here I am. Do you know that Jesus never showed himself to a single unbeliever after he was resurrected? He never wanted that carnal, evil delight in humiliating other people by saying, hey, I triumphed. You tried to crush me. I could not be crushed. Do you have that desire? When somebody tried to harm you, to somehow prove to that person that you triumphed? It's not the Spirit of Christ. He did not want to show himself to anybody after the resurrection. He showed himself only to believers who already trusted in him. That's a tremendous example for me. There should be no cheap triumphalism. A triumphalism that is cheap, to show other people, I've triumphed over you. There must never be even an atom of that spirit in us. No desire to show, see, you tried to harm me, but see what I did. I overcame you. What a lust there is in us to show. And we think we are glorifying God that way. Jesus could have thought that I can glorify God by standing before Pilate or standing before the Pharisees and say, see, I'm resurrected. See how God honored me. Has God honored you? Keep quiet about it. Bury it. Let the Lord show it in the day He returns, not today. This is not the time to reveal those things. When Christ returns, He will be exalted. We don't want to be exalted before that. We must have no desire to prove ourselves right to anybody in the world. Let the whole world think we are wrong. Even today, the whole world thinks that, when Jesus died, He never showed Himself to anybody. And even today, people say that He never rose from the dead. It's a wonderful thing to see this, the way that Jesus went. And if we allow this to happen in our lives, and the axe is laid to the root of the tree, I believe our victory will be genuine. We'll come to a real overcoming life where there'll be no strife or conflict in our heart, or toward no attitude in our heart that is negative towards any other human being. We got to work towards that. Work on it, brothers and sisters. God will help us. Amen.